just as I promised myself before the game came out, I finally got around to finishing the single player project before touching the multiplayer. And just as I'd finished and sat down to finally start getting around to tweaking with the multiplayer, I saw this comment. Felt bad, man. But he's not wrong. He's kind of right. He's referring to the video that I very hurriedly put out when the game launched a day early, because last time I posted something like that, just not even with without even thinking about it, I wound up getting 10,000 views, which is something I don't really get on my channel, being a so-called competitive Battlefield player. We're not respected people. People don't like us, including Dice, I think. Anyways, so I posted that in a hurry the moment I saw it, because I figured, hey, easy views. But he's right, that commenter. The video was kind of done trashily. So I wanted to kind of amend that before I tweaked all my settings down to low for optimizing frames and what have you. Just thought I'd kind of go over things real quick. So I still haven't touched multiplayer. Everything I have access to is through Origin Premium access, Premier whatever, and which basically gives you access to the deluxe edition, and I think with pre-order bonuses included, and potentially some unlocks from single player. We're gonna go ahead and take a look. By the way, there are 4 classes, and this is a neat little screen where it kind of shows you your customized soldiers. There are 4 class types as expected: assault, medic, support, and recon. And there are vehicles, land vehicles, and air vehicles. Everything appears to be pretty identical, weapon loadouts and everything. The only thing that really is different between the 2 factions, the Allied forces and the Axis forces, are the appearance options, and of course the vehicles are unique to each faction. Now, why don't we first cover the things that are common across all class types. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the sidearms for one. It's the same for both Axis and Allied. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through them here slowly, and you guys can kind of see them. This is a troll weapon, 1 round per reload, and the damage is absolutely mediocre. Probably kind of a showboat thing that people will start using, I'm sure. And this is the only revolver. Rest of them just semi-automatic pistols that you would expect from a World War II game. Pretty standard affair. I will probably, if I get around to it, I'll start doing some detailed weapon reviews. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of scroll things so that those who didn't pre-order or don't have time to just kind of look through stuff because they're on a 10-hour trial crunch, you can kind of watch this video instead. The melee weapons, there are a few here. The heavier weapons, if I recall in the beta, were the only ones capable of cutting through barbed wire and fences. I don't know if that's still the case. The UI doesn't seem to indicate it, but I believe it. I would assume it still is, because in single player I couldn't cut anything with my combat knife. So those 2 things are common across all classes. Now we'll go over the appearance options. Now, one thing to note as I start showing you all the Allied headgear first, and then their torso and pants options, is the fact that within the same faction, all 4 classes share the same pool of headgear and the clothing options, and this kind of troubles me a little bit, because in the previous games, one of the fastest ways you could kind of tell who was what class was by seeing the clothing, most importantly the headgear that they were wearing. And now, if I recall from the beta and the alpha, the spotting system has changed, so you're even more visually dependent or dependent on visuals for identifying what class you're looking at, especially in the enemy team. And while I'm personally care little for all these visual options, that is something that kind of worries me a little bit. And once I start playing, like I said, I really haven't touched a single minute of multiplayer since the game's come out, but that's certainly one of the things I'll be on the lookout for, to see how the game has been impacted by DICE offering all these visual options. And I can kind of understand from DICE's perspective, wanting to market the visual options. What good are those pants that you spend money or whatever for? Wait, real quick, face paint options are the same across both factions, and I'm just gonna go through this woman's face here, showing all the different face paint. And but yeah, it's concerning. Now let's get to the face real quick. This is the Allied faction. They have a full array of different races available for the faction, even though I don't think there were any Asians, none that I remember, not a significant amount of them on the European front, but they're there. Just kind of going over to the Axis real quick. Obviously, I'll do the faces first for the Axis. Same exact faces, different names for the presets, and they're all Caucasians, and Caucasians only. Makes sense, they're the Nazis. But yeah, Allied for some reason kind of seems to have kind of carried the whole diversity thing going, and obviously I don't think Nazis had very many women on the front lines. I believe they were known to be pretty, camos, known to be rather misogynistic, but once again, I could be wrong, and really it's not about that. DICE doesn't really care about historical accuracy, at least with this stuff. So there's that. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, this. I mean, I don't really care for any of this stuff, but it does kind of worry me about the gameplay implications of everybody being able to look potentially the same. So it's still kind of going through options here. Yeah, camos. Nothing too surprising. I think there was a particular Allied faction coat that had like some cool emblems in the back, but I don't know. Just anything like that generally seems kind of manufactured to me, and I feel kind of indifferent about it. But let me just go back here real quick. I'm gonna go back to Allied anyway to review stuff. I think it was oh, there we go. This one is got this little paint in the back. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of all the visual options. It's the same. For every class, they all look the same. Besides the gear they carry, there's not much to distinguish them. And I don't believe Assault has the Panzerfaust on his back for having it equipped, and the medic, if I recall, is as you can see, it's more or less the same. You can see right here, not much different, not much distinguishing them from the other classes. The only thing you can, I guess, tell is the different factions, which I guess is kind of enough, but it would have been nice to be able to see all the classes just by looking at them visually. And that's generally the quickest way to identify important information like that in a fast-paced game like this. But anyways, let's go on to the classes. I don't want to do this forever, so I'm pretty sure you don't want to listen to me either. They ditched the squad bonus perks and kind of gave different classes specializations, a set of specializations. In this case, this is combat role. This is the assault. You have the light infantry and vehicle buster, basically anti-infantry and anti-tank. These are the two traits here. Scavenger, you find more ammo. Battle hardened, you regain more health in other combat. Whoa, that's I need to see that. And then you have vehicle painter trait, damaging vehicle spots, and then bonus requisition when you destroy vehicles. I guess extra stuff. Anyway, AT, AA, and then you have the class-specific weapons. You have assault rifle, and just so you know, if I ever do, I'll probably go over these in further detail. Anyways, it looks like the first weapon you get comes with the full tree unlocked, or with a preset from a full tree. But obviously, as you can see here, you cannot reset it until you actually rank up the weapon. So this is what you start with in the beginning, and later you'll get this stuff. Once again, I think weapons probably deserve more time, so I'll go over those later. Customization options, you can modify different parts of the weapon with kind of like you could adjust the torso and the pants. I'm not gonna, obviously I don't even have all the weapons unlocked, so I'm just gonna show you the different kind of paints here. Receiver, I'll kind of go through this slowly because this is like the bulk of the weapon, so you'll see most of it. I'll kind of go slowly here, and you can see the different options. Gold plated is fancy looking. I think I prefer chrome. Anyway, kind of scrolling down still. So these are the visual options there, and then obviously the stock, the second biggest part of the weapon besides the receiver. So it's, yeah, the magazine. So you can, like, different parts of the weapon you can color in different ways. But really the important thing are the sights here. Assault rifles get a certain set of sights available to them. As you can see, all the ones that are available are unlocked in the first gun. Each gun you'll have to unlock separately. The sights, as far as if I recall correctly, you have the iron sights for assault rifles. You have the reflex sight. They call it NADES sight in this game. And you have the aperture sight. The reflex sight and the iron sights are zoom level 1. The aperture sight, which is the double zoom, is 2x. This, you can see the shape of the reticle there. And then you have the 3x and the medium range scope. And then you have all these other variations, but basically they just have the themed color themes on the different kinds of scopes. So that's about it there. Not nearly as much customization to make everything unified. If I guess you don't like having, you know, I don't know. If you like countryside and you don't like 3x, well, tough luck, I guess. Whatever. So that's kind of the assault weapons there. I'm gonna progression. Each weapon has its progression where you can kind of see all the stuff you can unlock, and each class also has the progression tree where you can see what you can unlock. But kind of skipping past that, we're going over everything one by one anyway. You have these are the weapons you have for assault. So I'll do the semi-autos, kind of slowly. Yeah, it's kind of standard affair. A lot of this stuff carried over from BF1. And then you have the assault rifles. You got 3 here. This could be a popular one with the rate of fire being so high. Stig, everyone remembers, and the storm or whatever. So you got 3 assault rifles and 5 self-loading. Now that's the weapon specific to assault. And then you have the nades, frag, incendiary, anti-tank for the assault. And then you have the Panzerfaust. Whatever this is must be a different variation of the rocket launcher. It says both infantry and armored, so maybe it's got a bigger splash, a little more damage, or shoots a little more straight. We'll have to see, or maybe less straight. We'll have to see. And then the dynamite, frag grenade rifle, and then the AT mine. Yeah, that's it. And then that's the progression thing I was talking about. You can kind of see all the stuff you'll unlock at each rank. Kind of redundant, honestly. Then we'll go to the medic. We have combat field medic, healer. You move faster when you're trying to save someone, and you give additional bandages, I guess. And then you have longer melee range for combat medic, and you move faster when you're about to die. Okay. You have the guns here. Once again, comes pre-unlocked, kind of. You'll actually have to rank up to reset and choose something else. Customize. Let's see what sights are available for medic guns. The SMGs, iron sight, NIDAR, the reflex sight, and then kind of aperture like casing around this one. It's only 1.25 though. And then you have, yeah, that's it, just these three. And I believe it's because and I'm gonna skip the visuals, just same shit, and then you're not gonna see it for all the other guns anyway, so kind of gonna go see the SMGs here. You got Sten, Suomi, MP40, MP28, EMP, MP34, and then you have the Thompson like looking gun, or I guess this is the Thompson's model number, I don't know. So there's that, and then we have the nades, frag, smoke, incendi. Then bandages, medical crate, which just has a lot more bandages in it for more people to pick up. I think it also has a radius heal, possibly, I kind of forget. And then you have the smoke grenade rifle, and then the AP mine, which is the claymore, basically. And that's that. It's the medic. Then we have the support. Combat role engineer. You fix stuff better, build fortifications better, and then I guess stationary weapons work better under you, I guess. And then you have machine gunner. A lot of suppression crap here. You receive less, you do more suppression, and suppression enemies, suppressed enemies are spotted. Okay, well, whatever. You got the LMGs. Once again, this is what you have in the beginning. This is the stuff you won't have until you actually hit rank 4 and unlock these. Anyway, that's just the first gun anyway. I'll probably cover each individual weapon if you're just dropping into the middle for whatever reason. And then we'll go to... Oh, let's see what sights are available for LMGs. You have the iron sights, the reflex, the AA, which is, I guess, like the medic's rendition of the aperture. It's only 1.25. Medium range scope. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so those are the LMG options. Let's see what guns we have. Okay, 3 categories here. MMGs, I guess that means mounted machine guns, or medium machine guns, I'm not sure. MG34 and MG42. I would hope means they're not really functional without being mounted, because the ROF on this one is insane. And then you have the LMGs, light machine guns. Okay. Yeah, this is a pretty powerful gun, I remember. Okay, and then the shotgun, you got 2 shotguns. I guess support has access to 3 different weapon types, which is kind of neat. Incendiary nade, impact nade, and then you have the sticky grenade. Okay, and that's also kind of like a anti-tank. Light vehicle, anti-light vehicle, ammo pouch, ammo crate, kind of the same deal as the medic, I would think. I'll obviously cover all of these classes in further detail as soon as I can get around to it. AT mine, AT grenade pistol, AP mine, so claymore. Then this kind of looks like a mini Panzerfaust, obviously AT mine. This channel, just so you know, isn't kind of your typical review channel. I generally tend to, I think, speak more to intermediate players, but I'll try and see what I can do to cover people that are new to it, just kind of checking out what it's like to make content like that. So you have the sniper, just long range asshole, setting off the edge of the map. And then the pathfinder, kind of your aggressive recon kind of stuff, spawn beacon stuff, and whatever this other spawn beacon stuff. This is what you get. Aim down, blah 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 blah. This is what you don't get until you rank up. Oh, that's the quick. That's what you want. They don't give it to you. Okay, well, big surprise. And then let's see what sights you get. On snipers, you have the iron sight, of course, and then you have the aperture, which is ×2. Okay. And then you have the medium range, 3x, and then the long range, 6x. And then everything else, just color variations. Okay, and then let's see, replace weapon. You have the self-loading variation and the bolt action. You have 3 types of self-loading: model nades, ZH-29, and RSC. This is some of the stuff we saw in BF1. And then you have the bolt action, the Enfield, M95, Krag, and Kar 98. This seems to have the highest damage modifier. I imagine I'll be seeing this a lot. on my death screen. And that kind of covers all the infantry classes. Once again, they are all the same for both Axis and Allied. Now I'll quickly cover vehicles. Not the customization options aren't there at all. You do have the specialization options. You can kind of just slowly click through these, little by little. I mean, one by one. Once again, this is stuff I won't be able to say much about besides just show you what's there. Obviously, I won't even be able to show you them for the rest of the vehicles. Now we have 4 more options, so 5 total for the Allied. So they have this. This is a kind of like anti-vehicle tank. This is also anti-vehicle, both heavy and light. This is anti-vehicle and infantry. It's kind of look like a light tank here. Fast wheels, I guess. And then this is anti-everything on the ground, basically. And this is the anti-air. And, oh, it looks like they got infantry listed as well, so anti-infantry. They finally realized that AAs are used more often against infantry than planes, unfortunately. So that's the Allied vehicles. And then we'll go ahead and look at, I assume the specializations are the same, but I kind of forget what I showed, so I'm just going to kind of click through these one more time. Once again, these are probably going to be different for all the other vehicles I haven't unlocked, so I'll kind of go over those later if I ever do. I don't think that's what people come to my channel for anyway. And then let's see what other vehicles they have. There's only 4 vehicles for Axis. We have Panzer, 4, and it's anti-everything on the ground. This is also anti-everything on the ground. Looks like a heavier variation. Very heavy variation. This is only anti-vehicle. It doesn't really say anti-infantry here. And then this is, of course, the AA, anti-air and anti-infantry. Yeah, no fast-moving tanks for these guys. And maybe one of these guys are more nimble. But Allied does have tanks that are on wheels instead of tracks. Okay, so the airplanes, oh, I don't know anything about these, so I'm just going to kind of click through these. Yeah, once again, I don't think I'll ever cover air vehicles in my channels in any capacity except how much I hate them. But yeah, so we have, anti-air plane, anti-light vehicle, and infantry. So kind of like lighter bomber, I guess heavier bomber, because it's got the heavy vehicle there. This is anti-air only, and this is anti-air and light vehicles. Maneuverability and all that stuff, I don't know. I'm not a pilot, and I haven't even booted up the game since launch quite just yet. Now let's look at the Axis options. Specializations also kind of look different. I don't recall. Once again, it's probably because it's a different vehicle. Kind of go through at least what I can. Yeah, so maybe I'll break these down further if I feel like I kind of have another feel for what they are without flying them. Anyways, anti-air is the first thing, another anti-air. This is anti-everything on the ground. It's like a bomber of some kind, heavy bomber I would assume, because this is anti-air and light vehicle. And this is anti-light vehicle and, no, this is everything on the ground. Heavy light vehicles and infantry, so another bomber. And that kind of covers everything. Just so you know, I generally do, I was kind of trying to say earlier, I do mostly cater to intermediate level players or higher, but I do want to cover different kinds of content going forward for BF5, at least while I have some time until the competitive season's kicked off, because it seems like DICE won't be supporting that for at least another month or 2. So I should have a lot more time on my hands, and so YouTubing is what I'll be doing since I don't really have a rig for Twitch. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back. I do have all the single player finished on the maximum difficulty and uploaded on Ultra Graphics and my channel. So if you want to check that out because you're bored, or because you only have a 10-hour trial until the game comes out and you want to just save all that for multiplayer. So anyway, thank you.